What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into all of tomorrow's games because actually, for the 1 o'clock games, especially this time of season, I feel like there's stories to be told, and a lot of these lines are very suspicious. And also do a quick recap. One thing I found interesting now, two things actually. The first being, we seem to either start off really good, like maybe miss one game, and then finish very flat, or start off terrible and then finish very, very strong. It's like there's no middle. So we had a really rough start today between college basketball and football, to be honest. I went with Iowa State, obviously covering TCU. That didn't happen. VCU was one I put out in my Discord. It was a college basketball cover I liked. That didn't work. But then we did get USC on the third leg. Towson's another one that we did in the Discord. Didn't work. Kent State came through. And I was off on Ohio State. And I want to go over that real quick. As you can see, we missed that. We missed the Kentucky under, but Thunder came through for us. So, again, not a great day at all. But we still actually profited on all these sequences. Missed Miami, but Mavs looking good. Or that's tomorrow, and I think it's looking good. And we have Washington State in play, and the Lakers came through for us and other teams. But what I wanted to go into was the quick narrative. So I thought Michigan was going to get bumped out, right? Or TCU possibly loses, something to that effect. And that would explain why USC is going to get in. And they're obviously setting up the Pac-12 as a ridiculous division where almost every team is going to be ranked, it seems like. That's part of the reason I went with Washington State. It sets up Oregon and USC. And my point is, it's interesting how we had LSU lose pretty bad. We had Ohio State lose really bad. And this will now open up the argument for USC getting in. So I've been on that bandwagon for a while. Back when they were playing UCLA and they were ranked 7th, and the week before that they were ranked 13th. I could see them flipping these teams, Clemson, LSU. But I thought it'd be Michigan, being honest. So I had the wrong team, but I think we were over the target. So that's looking like what's going to happen. I think USC gets in, just my opinion. And that's why I like Washington State. Now, going into tomorrow's picks, I basically played every game. The first one is Washington, and I do like them to cover for the simple fact, like I said, the NFC Beast narrative has been right on the money this season, and I think it's going to continue to do so. Normally, the Falcons-Commanders screams of a 3-point game, but again, I think they want Heineke to look pretty good, and they might reserve some of the 3-point games for when they're playing tougher opponents. So I think, I think again, it's another game where people aren't really completely on the Commanders yet. So Atlanta +4 is very enticing, more so than like +3. So I really do like the Commanders here. This one I went with Jacksonville for the simple fact it just looks like a trap to me. I don't see why the Ravens here wouldn't be more than, even on the road, in my opinion, they should be 5-6 point favorites. So the fact that it's 3.5 now, I was 2.5, tells me that it could have come down to a field goal or even a complete spoil. And Tennessee and the Jags are very similar. I picked them both for the same reason. Tennessee over Cincy. It seems like a deja vu game where it just seems like every time these type of games, Tennessee winds up either running away with it or just outright they'll win. But since it's at 1 point, I like Tennessee here, money line. And I do like Jacksonville on the cover. It has nothing to do with Chase being out. I just look where I think public money is going to be. I don't think that many people are really buying Tennessee. For the Jets, I like the story of Joe Flacco from the University of Buffalo coming back and then possibly playing the Ravens in the playoffs. So I think he looks good. I think he's starting. Either way, without Fields, I know a lot of people will be fading the Bears. But again, this is a game that's not going to get a lot of action. I think it's a narrative game, AFC Beast. So I think the Jets have to look very strong here, and they have to, in my opinion, win by a decisive touchdown. Now, you know how I'm not going to spend too much time on Denver. I'm rolling with Russ. I have them -1. I really do think that they win the game. I think people are going to be favored at the wrong time, and I do think he wins. I think they have a very clear path to the playoffs, and I think that people will start seeing that. And on that same token, I do have Broncos going over 36 because of the metric. They're like 1-8 on overs. That is just not something that holds. So I like that as well. And to round it out here, I'm going to go into the 4s as well. I just like to dedicate more time to the games, and my phone data won't allow me to hit them all. I like Miami -14. I think with the points, a lot of people might take Houston. And the difference here is, again, it's another narrative one. I don't see a ton of action on it. They're talking about how great Tua is at home. He's like undefeated at home since, I don't know how long. And these are the games where you'll see Hill and Waddle just go nuts. So I really like Miami to cover this 14. I can't say the same about the Chiefs, so I'll go into that one. And then the last one here, for narrative purposes, I love the Browns. I picked them to cover for the simple purpose, and I think I got my 4. I have to check. I like them to cover. It might be 3. I like them to cover for the simple fact that I'll just do 3 for now. Deshaun Watson's coming back, and Brady does not need this win with that division. The Browns do to stay in the hunt. And with Deshaun Watson coming back, I just feel like you're going to want them in the hunt. At 4-7, believe it or not, they are in the hunt. And with Watson, they can get a couple wins and make it interesting. So I do like the Browns over the Bucs for that reason. I will go into all 3 of these games. I actually like them all a lot. 4. And I'll go into the night games. I just like to go. I've noticed because of the data, I've been flying through them without being able to go into narratives. And I wanted to cover more narratives. And then by either later, honestly, I'm probably going to do it in a couple hours. Or if not, first thing in the morning, I'll have the 4 o'clocks out. But yeah, so tonight, like I said, tonight finished off really strong. I got the Mavs locked in already for tomorrow. I'll go into basketball, but I just won. They're not starting 4-14 against the spread. And a lot of these just look like traps, in my opinion, and a lot of stories to be told. That's why, if you notice, I love the East games. We've been doing really good with the AFC and NFC East, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I think when we see a narrative, it's pretty obvious. I wish I saw the Pac-12 narrative sooner in college, or I would have had all the, Utah, all these teams doing so well. Obviously, it isn't a coincidence. But yeah, so I'll go into the games, the other ones tomorrow, but I do like all of these games. I don't just play every game. You know that. This is the first week I am, and it's for a reason. Actually, we're not playing the Chargers and the Cardinals. But if absolutely pressed, I would go ahead and pick the Chargers to cover, because I think that they need to keep them in the hunt as well. But it's not one I'm playing just because it just seems like such a 50-50 game. But if pressed, I would lean Chargers. And I'll update it tomorrow if I do come to a complete determination. But take care, everybody, and happy earnings.